5 bidders are preparing to do battle in the race to buy Manchester United, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe stepping up his interest by involving the leading investment banks JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. It seems, Shebahn, that obviously he was involved in potentially trying to buy Chelsea, but now seems very, very keen to get his teeth in here, but needs a bit of support because he's going to JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. He's the only man to publicly have declared his hand so far.
Yeah, and it seems like he has captured the imaginations and captured the love of a lot of Manchester United fans. He would be the go-to to buy their club, would be Sir Jim Ratcliffe, with the interest that he has expressed. Now, I do recall a number of Chelsea fans back when Roman Abramovich had to sell the club to Todd Boehly. Todd Boehly was the one that they wanted to bring into the club as well, because he seemed like the key person who fans seemed to want to warm to, and he was speaking with certain fan bases and across everything that it could be, and that seems to have changed. But yeah, Sir Jim Ratcliffe making sure that he's brought on these Wall Street giants to ensure that he can buy the club. 8 days to register your bid. He still seems like he would be the favourite. Of course, the Qatari interest as well is very, very interesting. But from what it seems like, the Qataris were approached about a year ago to see if they would be interested in buying the club. Whereas for now, it seems so probable that Jim Ratcliffe wants to be involved at Manchester United. He wants the club, which is a big tick for Manchester United fans.
OK, so that's the potential British interest. Of course, a petrochemical billionaire through his company Ineos. But as you can see there at the top right-hand corner, this is the back of the Mail on the back page there. Qatar face 4 rivals in battle to buy United, Mike Keegan's piece. And there is a little bit more detail if we just show you the web page as well. And yes, it's 5 serious bidders, and the Qatari bid set to face competition from Sir Jim Ratcliffe and American investors. Jonathan, you've written about this in the back of your paper as well. The Qatari bid, it seems like they're sort of testing the water a little bit. It sounds like, that there's been, stories coming out about this potential Qatari bid, but it seems like the detail is a little light. But that that there is a sort of an element of trying to kind of find out a little bit more on how it would go down with fans, how it would go down in the world of football.
Yeah, I mean, everything here is kind of caveated by the fact that we're not seeing a huge amount of what's going on, and what is in the public eye has almost certainly been put there or planted there for our purposes. There's a kind of suggestion within the game that certain people have been playing up the Qatari interest in order to try and flush out other bidders or try and set up a bidding war, because at the moment there seem to be very few potential bidders who are going to meet the Glazers' valuation of between £6 to £8 billion. So it is a little bit of a media game at the moment. We don't know how serious the Qataris are. I mean, one report saying that they haven't yet hired a PR firm, which is basically one of the first things you would do if you're kind of serious about a bid. So I think we are very much in the speculation stage here. It was kind of the same with Chelsea, that we were getting so many wildly differing numbers of how many people were interested and how interested they were. Obviously, Jim Ratcliffe comes in at the last minute. So I would take anything you sort of read about this bid with a slight pinch of salt at the moment, unless I've written it.
Just really, really quickly, I was intrigued by one line in your piece about how stirring it would be, as in 2005, when United fans protested against the Glazer takeover, they chose to evoke that sense of exceptionalism for the greater good of the sport, to resist, and these are some strong words here, the prostitution of their club to one of the world's most stavish governments, to demand better. That is, incredibly sort of tough language you're using there, Jonathan. I wonder if you can just try and unpack that for us just slightly, because, we have, obviously, the situation here where we might have, Premier League clubs owned by different, essentially, regimes here. We had Chelsea, of course, with Abramovich sanctioned because of his links to Putin, Newcastle with Saudi Arabia, and now Manchester United potentially with Qatar. I mean, how dangerous a position might that be?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it with with Saudi Arabia and Newcastle and Manchester City and Abu Dhabi, that football teams essentially become a wing of geopolitics, and that sort of plays itself out almost not so much in financially, but in terms of how they conduct their business and how they conduct themselves with each other, how they kind of regard things like the rule of law or regulations or the existing culture of the game. Look, I mean, I went to Qatar for the World Cup, and I didn't like it very much. It is a brutal regime, and I think Manchester United are better than that. I mean, I'm not a Manchester United fan, but I feel like their fans keep going on about how their club is kind of special. It's sort of exemplary. This is kind of your time to prove it, right? If you don't want your club to become this geopolitical pawn for like a really illiberal medieval regime, then you kind of have to speak out about it now, because while it's at this stage. Anyway, that's just what I think.
Okay, no, but that's why we've got you on, Jonathan. Thank you.